Peace be with you. Friends, we come now to this wonderful feast of Corpus Christi. You know, every year we have the feast of Trinity Sunday, followed by Corpus Christi. So two of the highest theological mysteries, the Trinity and the Eucharist, back to back. And I think the church is right in sort of compelling us every year to come back to these great truths, because in some ways the heart of the spiritual life is here. So last week we looked at the mystery of the Trinity, now at the body and blood of Jesus. And the readings, of course, are marvelous. I want to start, though, with reading number 2. It's from 1 Corinthians, and it's a very brief passage, but wow, is it packed with theological importance. It's now the Apostle Paul, so we're talking very early on. He's writing this sometime in the 50s of the first century. We're within 20 years or so of the dying and rising of Jesus. And Paul, who met the risen Lord, is communicating something of great significance. So here's what he says. First of all, I received from the Lord what I also handed on to you. That's interesting because Paul will talk about receiving something from, the other apostles and so on. No, this he received, he said, from the Lord. What? That Jesus, on the night he was handed over, took bread, and after he'd given thanks, broke it and said, "This is my body that is for you." In the same way also the cup after supper, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me." Okay, familiar words, from the Eucharist, of course, but now keep in mind who's speaking and how primitive this is in the tradition, how early in the tradition. Paul is communicating something that he thinks is of central importance. Also keep in mind, who's speaking here? Paul, the apostle, who had been Rabbi Shaul from Tarsus, who came to Jerusalem to study at the feet of Gamaliel, one of the greatest rabbis of the time. Shaul was immersed in the traditions of his people. He would have lived and worked somewhere in the vicinity of the Jerusalem temple, where sacrifice took place year-round. Paul knew that whole world, the scriptures, the liturgy and practice of Judaism. This is the one who says, remembers from the Lord, "This is my body that is for you." Now, you're a Jew who is acquainted with the temple liturgy. And language now is being used about a body offered. What does he have in mind? He has in mind temple sacrifice. When someone would bring the body of an animal to the temple as an offering, could be an offering of thanksgiving, it could be a sin offering, an offering of reparation.